Good evening, Malaysia, and followers from around the world. Please welcome Ken Choo. Ken Choo is the only Malaysian CEO in a UK football club, if not the whole of Europe. Okay, so Ken Choo is also the CEO of HR Owen, a car dealer for luxury brands like Ferrari, Bentley, and Maserati. He's also in charge of football clubs which belongs to Tan Sri Vincent Tan, such as the Conrick Football Club in Belgium. Chu is a trained accountant and has worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers in Kuala Lumpur. He has worked in hotels in Seychelles as well as in London. So we are really privileged to have with us Ken Chu to share with us some of the work that he's doing in London, particularly as the CEO of Cardiff Football Club, which many of us can only dream of. Which Malaysian can actually run a football club in UK and as well as in Europe? It's really a privilege. Ken Choo, welcome on board. Now, Ken Choo, let's dive on into the question. What is it like to run a football club as a CEO? Please tell us.
Hi, ChunWai.
Hi.
It's early morning here. Uh, well, I mean, it's absolutely privileged to be part of Cardiff City and have the opportunity to work with Vincent, um, running the club for the last 6 years. I mean, Vincent has been owning Cardiff City for the last 10 to 11 years. And, football is a very emotional game, and it's always ups and downs in football, and you will never have a day which is normal in the office here. So we had some highs and lows over the years. Vincent has got the club promoted twice to the Premier League, and now we are back in the Championship, and we are fighting on. And it's just relentless. The Tuesday, Saturday matches that we have. I mean, this 2 weeks alone, we have like 7 matches in 19 days. We have a match tonight at 7:45, and we got another match at home on Saturday, and it's just one after the other. So it's not easy, but it's fun.
What is it like to actually run a football club in comparison with a commercial company like the luxury brand car that you are selling? What's the difference in terms of running a company?
Well, the first thing is you don't have weekends off, Chunwai.
Yeah.
We are preparing the game on a Thursday and a Friday, while other normal businesses, you're already getting ready for the weekend and Friday and Saturday off. But we don't. We are basically working on a Friday, traveling to games, prepping for the game on a Saturday, and then after the game, you are going to have to analyze what happened in the game, whether you win or lose. That's another question. But it's really challenging, and your whole weekend is is really out the window. But if you win, you have a very good Sunday. But if you don't do so well, then you have to reanalyze and try to improve for the following game. So it's constantly 24/7 in football. It's very different than the other industries that we are in. The motor industry, it's mainly 5 days a week, but football is just constantly day and night. You're looking at not only yourself, but you're looking at the competitors. You're watching what the competitors are doing on a Friday night and what they are doing on a Sunday, because it's not what you do only which determines the result. It's the league, and it's relentless with 46 games a season. But we're only 9 games through. We haven't been doing fantastically because we had a lot of ins and outs in the summer. So we got 6 new players who came in. We bought 2 new players. We got a striker. We got a goalkeeper, and we had 4 loans. We had 2 boys from Liverpool, and we had 1 from Leicester, 1 from Arsenal, which is on loan. So there's still a lot of uh, integration and trying to get the team to gel, and it's just not plug and play like
Sure.
you buy an iPhone, so it's so you just have to give it time, and you have to believe in the strategy, and you need to have a lot of patience in football.
What was your reaction when Tan Sri Vincent told you that, Ken Choo, I'm going to select you as now as the CEO of Cardiff Football Club? What was your reaction?
I was quite surprised because I was working with him in the Seychelles, and I got posted in London running the hotels. And one day he just said that you should come with me to Cardiff. I'd like to show you the football club. And I said I don't know much about football, and he says don't worry about it. You can just Google it and find out. Yeah. But I enjoyed working with him. He's really hands-on in the business. There's no textbook sort of learning for him. You just dive straight in, and you get your hands dirty and get on with it. So like my posting in the Seychelles before as well for 6-7 years, running a hotel and resort. It is basically you sink or swim, when you get on with it. So you just have to get on with it and try to learn as it goes along. And it's quite diversified in the championship league. You have CEOs from America. You got mainly British CEOs. You have CEOs from Thailand. We have clubs from Thailand as well, and we have 2 clubs from Malaysia. So I'm really privileged to be in this position, and I really feel happy that I have met Vincent. It's given me a great opportunity. I mean, he's a fantastic man who has achieved so much in his life, and to be part of his world, to be able to push forward and try to achieve get Cardiff back into the Premier League. I think it's a dream for everyone to be able to achieve that.
Obviously, that you're training as an accountant, that you're able to juggle the figures, and of course that you work in a hospitality business before, would probably help a lot. Does most of the CEOs in football clubs, do they have mostly accountancy background or finance?
I think they have quite diverse backgrounds, because in football is not purely financially driven. The most important is football results, which comes first, because irrespective what you do in the office, whether commercially or ticketing or the shop or whatever, it really doesn't bring anything unless you get very good football results. So I think most of the CEOs, they have a bit of background in football, and they have good relation with the owners and their businesses and their families, but not particularly in football, because most of the football strategy and selection of players comes from the manager.
Yes.
So it comes mainly from the manager. Yeah.
I've spoken to Tan Sri Vincent. I said that, why do you spend so much money buying football clubs? And what would be your returns? He always said that emotional dividends. When the team wins, is very happy. Now, in terms of you as the CEO, do you particularly look at costs, running the team? What is the fixed cost? And how much do you balance the accounts, to make sure that, look, while it may not necessarily be financially rewarding all the time, but in terms of actually running a club, that actually people gets paid their salaries on time, how do you juggle it?
Chunwai, we all, like all businesses, we need to have a set budget for the season or for the year, and cost of player salary is mainly the biggest item there. And sometimes, like presently, where economy is not doing well and we don't have fans in the stadium, we have to adapt to the changes where lack of revenue is coming in, and we have to dispose players. We basically have 6 players leaving in the summer, where we sold 2 of our players as well to bring in revenue for the club. But it is always constantly changing, and you need to know your numbers
Yes.
in your head. You need to know the big numbers in your head, because a football club is very cash flow driven, and it's quite taxing for the owners as well. And it's quite tough for Vincent, but we like him to enjoy it. That's the only reason why he bought the club, to enjoy football, and we like him to continue to enjoy it. And we're trying to get some results tonight, and we're trying to get some results on Saturday. That's why I'm here.
So the attendance of football fans who attend the games, in terms of ticket sales, they make up a large chunk of the revenue for the club, as well as sponsorship.
Basically, it doesn't make a big chunk of it. I think the big chunk of it comes from the TV money. It has changed tremendously over the last 10 to 15 years. Most of it is coming from the TV money, international broadcast, which comes in. And when you go up to the Premier League, it can go as much as 80% of your revenue.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so it's fairly significant.
Ken, why is it that in UK the coach is called manager, which essentially that we know is the coach? Okay, why are they called manager?
Well, they're basically managing the team, managing the players. We don't really get involved with player management. We are basically involved with trying to motivate the manager. And that's where the owner, the chairman, Mehmet, and myself is trying to do, which is we try to manage the manager, or we try to communicate with the manager and to support him. And he does manage the players. But some of the football clubs in England, they call them the head coach.
Oh, okay.
But in England, it's quite common that they call them the manager, the football manager, or the gaffer, they call it. You know, the players call managers the gaffer, which is like the boss. Yeah.
So in terms of been having the ability to play in a UK football club, an entry point. Okay, a Malaysian, he wants to play in the Cardiff Football Club. Okay, what are the entry points like? What are the requirements? Do they have to sort of like meet certain requirements, play in a European club before actually being allowed to play in London or in UK?
I think the most important criteria is if the player plays international for his country, and whether it falls within the top 50 of the FIFA ranking. So if you look at Malaysia, for example, which doesn't fall within the top 50 of the FIFA ranking, it will be very difficult for the player to meet the requirements to be able to play in England. So it depends on, I think, 5 or 6 major criteria, but the most important one is your country has to be top 50 in the FIFA ranking.
I see.
And it's just difficult, but that's the reality of it. That's the rules.
Okay. Is there a Malaysian player, I understand, I can't remember his name, a Malaysian boy who is undergoing training, right, in Belgium?
Yeah. Lukman is a striker who is now doing training in our club in Belgium, Kortrijk. And I've been speaking to him constantly because I'm helping to manage the club there as well. And he's very optimistic. He's very positive. His mental attitude is right, and he wants to be very successful. But we're all behind him. Vincent is behind him, and the club is behind him, and we all want him to succeed. But given his initial attitude towards the game, I think he will do well, this boy. I think this Lukman will do well because he's very positive mindset, and you can feel that he has the drive. So when you have that mentality, it's already 50% won, you know. So he just needs the opportunity now to get some game time, which the coach there is trying to give him some opportunity to get some game time, and then he will build up his confidence from there.
What is lacking among the Malaysian potentials? Let's just say in comparison to a South Korean or a Japanese or even a Chinese player, they seems to have done a little well. But of course, the Koreans have done it very well. What is really lacking among Malaysian players? That, in your view, is it because of our physique, our mental frame, or why is it that we can't make the cut in UK?
Oh, that's not an easy question.
Yeah.
I think physicality is important. I think the training regime is important.
Mhm.
I think the dietary requirement is important. So it's not just one specific factor for success. You need that the blend of everything else. But I believe that if you are given the opportunity, that's what Vincent is trying to do with Lokman, to give the Malaysian players an opportunity. They can do really well. You know, there's no reason for a Malaysian player not to do well. But you just need somebody to give you an opportunity, like Vincent gave me the
Yes.
opportunity to be
Yes.
the CEO. So we're doing very well. Even in London, our business HR is doing very well. We have 4 consecutive years of improvement in bottom line. We are one of the most respected car dealerships in the Northern Hemisphere in Europe. You know, so it is just that the opportunity that someone needs to be given, and you know, Vincent is given Lokman this opportunity, and I hope he just take it and do well, and we're all very proud of him because I'm sure he will be a success.
Ken, when we say that a football player is on loan, does that mean that the club do not have to pay for him for his what do you call it, for him to join a club? He's free. Does that mean that?
Oh, when they are on loan, we have to pay some loan fee to the respective club. We have 2 players from Liverpool currently. We have Harry Wilson and we have the other player, and we pay a small loan fee, and we contribute to the wages. It is a good option to have a loan because you can't basically buy every single player out there. And you have a lot of very talented Premier League players who is just not able to get into the first team. Like it's very difficult to get into the first team of Liverpool or Leicester City or the big ones.
Yeah.
So it's a very good option for them to come in on loan, do well, and then their value goes up. You know. And then they will definitely be looking for a move back into their parent club or other clubs will come and pick them up and buy them in the transfer window. So it's a win-win for both sides, not only for the club which loans him, but also to the parent club because it enhances the value of the player.
Are there any specific instances where a football club unload the players on free loan, but no particular club takes them? Are there any such cases?
Lots of it.
Okay. So basically nobody wants them.
Yeah.
What do they do?
Well, it's not easy to, unless, you see, nobody wants to pick up a player, loan a player which is not doing well. So everybody wants the player which is performing or be able to perform for the club. So 9 out of 10 of players might not get a loan move. So only the very few. I mean, football is very, it's a very tough industry, you know. The players who come up from the academy as well, you know, out of 1,000 players, you might have 1 or 2 which makes it to the first team over the years. So the drop-off rate is like 99.9%. And then only the 0.1% might make it. But having said that, even by the time you reach 13, 14, 15 years old, the players, our players, even in our academy players, have been bought by clubs like Man City. You know, we got young players who are bought up by Premier League clubs, and this is part of the rules. This is part of the game. This is part of the Premier League rules, which allow Cat 1 clubs to buy from the other categories of clubs, academy like ours, which is Cat 2. So even at very young age, they've already been brought up and by the big clubs. And sometimes you just don't see them getting into the first team. So after a certain age, the clubs will basically loan them out to lower league clubs and maybe overseas to get exposure and try to enhance the value of the player.
So the minute they get bought over by the clubs while they're still at the academy, they are already been paid a salary.
Correct.
Okay. So at this academy,
they're given scholarships. Scholarships, and by the time they are legally able to sign a contract, they'll get a good salary. Yeah.
So at this academy, besides playing football, do they attend normal classes like kids elsewhere?
Yeah, they do. They do study as well as playing football. Every academy has a education system as well as a football side. So they have best of both worlds. Very fortunate.
But not easy if your mind is just on playing football. It's not going to be easy to study, right?
Yeah. It's no. But most of the kids, you can see that they do well in both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How does one become a football agent? It seems that they make a lot of money. How does one become a football agent?
I think you just have to pay £300 or £500 and register yourself as a football agent.
Okay.
But the industry is full of football agents, and they make lots of money. But that's how it works. That's how you can get players. Sometimes you just can't get players to move when you deal directly with the clubs, and you can only start moving players when you talk to agents. So whether you like it or not, they exist, and some of them really do good work in terms of trying to move players in and out, and some don't. So there's always the good and bad in everything else.
So like agent, they just approach the players directly, like actors. They hire a manager. So or the agent. So they go direct to the players and say, "I want to be an agent. I will represent you."
Yes.
Okay.
That's how it works. So the bigger agent you are, with the big players, you tend to attract more talented footballers to join you because you have the network. So it's mainly a network, which they have. Yeah. So the bigger you are, you tend to absorb the better players.
What about talent scout? Do they travel around the country in UK or Europe to look for potential players? Do they go to school or go to the football fields? How do they work?
I think every club has a scouting network as well, including Cardiff. We have a scouting network as well, and basically we have scouts which go to the north, south, east, and the west. So we look at players in England by region, and we also look at players internationally in France, in Belgium, and all that. So we have that network of people who is constantly working when the season is on to look for talents. And when the season actually finishes, then we have the summer window which opens. So when everybody else is going for their summer holiday, we start to work in the office because that is where the window starts to open for several months, for 2 to 3 months. And that is the most hectic time for the people in the office, like the chief exec, the owner, the chairman, and the scouting department. Because that's where the transfers and the moving of players will happen. And that is the time where for normal people, they will be on a summer holiday somewhere in the Bahamas while we are still slogging in the office. Yeah. So tell me about having a good life. Yeah.
And you know that the academy, they train
Yeah.
youngsters to be footballers, preparing
Yeah.
them for the big time. Okay. Now, what about players who are reaching the retirement age, 31, 32? You know, they can't play that well anymore. Do you guys prepare them for life after being a professional footballer? Where should they invest their money cleverly so that they don't just spend it away like crazy and they are left with no money? How do you prepare them for that kind of life?
We don't give them financial advice. I think
Mm,
they know basically what to do because they have a lot of
mm,
colleagues and friends who
mm,
has been there.
mm.
A lot of people have their own businesses
I see.
which they do run. Uh, a lot of people has gone into the media. Some of them who like to be managers after they retire.
Yeah.
And if you look at some of the football managers, very successful football managers currently in the Premier League and all over the world,
Mhm.
they are once upon a time a football player.
Yeah.
So we have a player currently in house which is 30 plus and going into retirement or planning to go into retirement, and you can see the mindset. They are doing their coaching badges now,
Mhm.
so they are planning themselves to be getting into to be a coach or to be a manager one day, or they plan to go to as a presenter for
Yeah.
Sky. So they are planning their career uh, at the end of their tenure, and they know the time frame to be a football player is fairly limited. You know,
Yeah.
you can't beat the human body.
Mm.
You know, there's a time where you have to hang up your boots and call it a day.
Yeah. Ken, why is it that some very good players, my favorite, for example, Thierry Henry of Arsenal, a legend,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
could not make the cut to be a real good manager. And there, of course, there are those who have become very successful managers, but many just cannot become managers, like Sol Campbell of Arsenal. What is required of a manager, strategy-wise, or the ability to read the game well, which players cannot do it? What is it that the manager has which the players don't have?
Well, you could say talent.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of managers who is extremely good in what they do.
Mhm.
It comes from internal. It's not something which
Yeah.
you can be taught. You know, like Vincent doing business, he didn't study it from school.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it's from
Yeah.
basically doing it, and everybody wants to be like him
Yes.
because everybody wants to be as successful as him. But not many people has that
Yeah.
foresight and that
The instinct. Yeah.
the
Yes.
magic which you
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to learn to get some of the magic, but he just has it, and some people just don't have it. So it's there's no right or wrong answer, Chun Wai. I'm
Correct. I agree
sorry.
with you. You can have a PhD in business, but that will not make
Yeah.
you a businessman. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Or an MBA from Harvard, but cannot become a CEO.
Yeah.
Ken, okay, you know, when I see Cardiff players on the field, I have this sense of pride because I see Malaysia there on their jersey. No football club has had that except Cardiff. When, of course, we have all over the EPL, fly to Rwanda, you know, that sort of thing. They paid for that sponsorship, but
Yeah.
to have that Malaysia thing on a jersey is really superb. Now, do people ask you about Malaysia, and what is your feel when people ask you about Malaysia?
Yeah, we always get questions about our jersey, and you know, we have so many companies who want to sponsor our jersey, and all the betting companies is giving hundreds of thousands, and in the Premier League it goes to 5 million or so.
Mhm.
But Vincent is very unique. Vincent has always wanted Malaysia to be in the front of shirt. He always wants the country above everything else. And you know, every year we go to him and say, "Oh, we have another company who is going to give you millions," and he says, "No, no, 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 no. I like to promote my country. You know, uh, I I've been successful because of Malaysia,
Mm.
and through times of difficulty like now, where you have COVID and all that." It even drives him to promote the country more because he knows that hospitality is suffering.
Yes.
You know, travel is restricted. So it drives him to do something. And these are the things that we learn from him.
Yes.
And we learn to see his vision. We learn how he sees things in a bigger light. And he does try to help his country as much as possible. That you got to give it to him.
I think that our tourism ministry should also help Cardiff by financially supporting the sponsorship. I think that will help.
ChunWai, do you have their phone number?
Well, if this year was a Visit Malaysia year and there was no COVID-19, then they should have supported this team.
I think they should. They should try to help. They should try to help football clubs or sporting bodies internationally, which is promoting the brand of the country. I mean, this is a no-brainer. But I hope one day they will. I hope one day they realize that they should for the interest of the country.
Because the ROI from this kind of investment is really great.
Yeah, when you're in the championship and you have millions of viewers in the world, and you're in the Premier League and you have multi-million viewers all over the world, and you're basically the best platform to market yourself. And all these other companies are paying millions to be on the front of shirt. So it is a no-brainer for tourism establishments to try to support their own country and their own brand.
Ken, when I see Malaysia on the Cardiff Football Club jerseys, you see it for 90 over minutes. But if you put your money in F1, the car just spins by and you don't even see Petronas or Malaysia there. It goes so fast.
Yeah, that's quite true.
Okay,
but Petronas is doing well with Formula One. Formula One has just appointed a new president, and I think as a sport like football, they will get better and they will do very well.
Okay, Ken. On the subject of COVID-19, because that Cardiff is one of the most hit area, you are still playing to a stadium that's empty, right?
Correct. England has a set of rules to combat COVID, and there are certain restrictions now with the lockdown from Thursday for a month. So the UK government has announced certain COVID restrictions, but football is still ongoing. The government is saying all professional football is still ongoing. But in Wales, it's totally different, because the Welsh government is making another set of rules, but it's still allowing football to get on with it. But without the fans in the stadium, ChunWai, it is very different.
Absolutely.
It is totally different.
Yes.
I mean, you're sitting and watching a game where you have 30,000 empty seats, and it's just not the same. There's not much emotion, So it's a very, very peculiar time with COVID, But we understand why the respective governments have to lock down the city. I mean, they're trying to save lives, and they're trying to make sure that the R rate drops. So we can understand what they're trying to do. But now I think after 6 to 8 months, the respective government, whether it's Welsh government or the UK government, has recognized that professional football clubs are able to continue to have football in a very safe environment. So we have all the protocol necessary, and the tests and the masks and everything necessary to ensure our players are safe. And that's the reason why the respective governments have allowed the professional football and professional sports to still continue.
Ken, football is a very physical game. There's a lot of touching, a lot of physical elbowing, and that of course.
You can't elbow. Yeah,
okay, been a physical
it's not
game.
Boxing.
Been a physical game. So after the game is over, do they have to do a COVID test?
Not really, because if you don't show any symptoms, you're not basically isolated. But we, as a football club, we do regular COVID checks with all our players. But if you don't show any of the symptom and you don't expose yourself, there's no reason to do any test. But if one of the players or one of the coaches or somebody close to the first team has developed certain symptoms, we just have to isolate the person.
And the way things are going in this age of uncertainty, it looks like we have come to a point where we think that it's something that we have to live with. Lots of people are going to get infected, and it's just one of those things that we've got to learn. That look, it's going to be a long haul. This one.
Yeah, but I think if you seriously lock down during the lockdown period, if everybody's just stay away from each other, the transmission rate should not be going up. It should come down. If you look at Melbourne, I think they locked down for 112 days. The transmission rate was 0. And then you look at some of the other countries as well, who is so successful of bringing the transmission rate down. It's just that people being people, they don't really behave, and when you don't behave, and you will always have this transmission rate still going around, and you cause a lot of elderly people to get sick. It's not just yourself. So that's why when I had the virus, I had to make sure that I don't go out and my family members don't go out, because it's not just yourself which you are affecting. It's the people who is innocent who can get affected. So we basically lock ourselves up for 14 days and make sure we comply with the rules, because the rules are there for a reason.
Yes. Ken, I'm so happy to hear that you have recovered. Now, Ken, what is it like to juggle two big posts, CEO of 2 companies? It's not easy. Share with us how you deal with it.
Well, football and the requirements of running a football club is very different than the requirements of in the car industry. And now the car industry is very tough as well, because UK economy is not doing so well as well. And people are not having so much disposable income. But you just have to continue to have that drive. You just have to continue to go out there and try to get business, because nobody is going to come to your showrooms to knock on your door and to buy things from you. So you just have to work smarter. Our marketing department or IT department, which is online marketing, is doing 300% more work than people in the office, because that's where you get your leads from. Okay. So the last 3 months, our business is better than even before, because we were trying out new things and trying to market new ways of marketing to our clients, and when people are at home during lockdown, they tend to read their emails more. They tend to look at Instagram more and Facebook more. So like yourself, you are revolving, you're revolving and you're using social media and all this to revolve.
Yeah.
We just have to do that. We have to constantly revolve. And we have the most followers on Instagram and Facebook, for every car dealerships. It's just, you just have to continue to innovate. And you cannot, like what Vincent always say, you cannot just sit there and expect people to bring the business to you. You have to go out there, whether it's social media or otherwise, or pick up the phone and give it a try. If you don't shoot 10 times, you won't have a goal. That's what Vincent keeps saying to us. And it's basically true. If you don't try, you will never make it.
Ken, I follow your career. It's quite amazing. You have always tried to do something that's different, and you dare to actually take up jobs which are completely different from what you have learned in your life, okay? You have started with the hotel business in Seychelles, casino business, car business, football business. So it's really amazing that you have dared to try something and take up the challenge. Now, one final question before we wrap it up. What is your advice to people who enter the industry as a graduate? Sometimes they study business, they study finance. They think that they will join a certain particular industry and their mind is fixed. I will do this. But in your case, you have tried everything that's different, and along the way they trade on your lap. What is your advice to them?
If you keep following the path where you're trained to do, then you will never be able to change and to venture into new areas. So my advice is take it as it comes. There's no fixed rule in life, or there's no fixed path in life. So always take it as it comes, and do take the opportunity when it's given to you. And I'm very blessed that Vincent is a person who gives a lot of Malaysians opportunities, not just myself. He gives a lot of Malaysians opportunities and jobs. So you need to just take it when it comes and try to do the best you can to improve the company, and keep revolving, keep trying, and keep doing things which are different, and then your life will turn up very differently than what you expect it to be.
As the CEO of Cardiff Football Club, what was your most difficult moments and the happiest moment?
Oh, I think the happiest moment is when we got promoted to the Premier League. To see that the expression on Vincent's face and that of his family. I mean, that was the best achievement. And I think the saddest moment is when we had the Emilio Sala's death 2 years ago, when we in the Premier League. We had a very tough time during that period, and we are still struggling to comprehend that.
Yeah.
But we have always have thoughts about him and the family, and until today we still, Vincent and the club, we're still trying to do something for his family. And I think that is the toughest time for the football club and for all of us.
Yes.
But that's just life. It's just the up and downs, which we have to take it on the chin, and we got to, every time you fall, you have to stand up again, and you got to fight another day.
Yes.
So we have a game tonight, which I have to prepare for. ChunWai, great talking to you.
Thank you, Ken. We wish you all the best, and let's cheer for Cardiff.
Yes.
Okay.
All the best. Take care.
Thank you for watching tonight. Ken Choo, for spending time with us. I know you got a great game coming up tonight. Please remember to like, follow, and share RealChunWai. And of course, Cardiff. Cheers.
Take care.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.